Hey y'all, sorry. I'm gonna do my video about my pregnancy with Cooper. Um, I'm gonna try my best to go off my memory because it's been a year and a half. Actually, more than a year and a half because he's a year and a half now, but you get what the gist of it and you know what I mean. So, I'm gonna try to remember, and I know it's a very interesting story and everybody's is different, so I felt that I would share mine because I do want more children in the future. Hint, hint, I am not pregnant, but I would like to go ahead and share this one so that way when I do have another one that I can share that story with you as well and we can see how different they are. So, and like I said, everybody has different stories. You can have a good birth, then you can have a bad one, or you can have a bad one and then you can have a good one. You know, it's different for everybody. You can have all bad ones, you can have all good ones, you know. So, yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm going to do I'm going to make it into two parts because they're going to be pretty. This part is going to be the longest, then the birth story is going to be the shortest, but I guess I'll just go ahead and do the first part, which is going to be the pregnancy. So, part one and then part two. So I guess we'll start out is, I'm not going to mention anything about Cooper's dad in this video. Just forewarning, myself and Cooper. I mean, I may mention, different things, but I will not be saying any names just because we are no longer together and I have moved on with that part of my life. So, yep. Okay, so I guess we're going to start out when I found out I was pregnant. I found out with a $1 Dollar General test in my bathroom at my house. I was excited but nervous. I had recently had a miscarriage before Cooper, and if you have ever noticed that I have two tattoos, I actually have one on my ankle, which you probably have never seen, but then it says faith over fear, but then I have this one, which I regret getting, but I did get it, and it's a heart with a heartbeat, and then it ends 6/29 of 18. I had this miscarriage on this date. I got pregnant with Cooper within 4 weeks of having a miscarriage. When they tell you that it is not possible to get pregnant 4 weeks after a miscarriage, I don't care who you are, Dr. Phil, Maury, I don't care. I don't give a rat's butt. When they tell you it is not possible, anything is possible with God, because I wanted a baby so bad, and I got pregnant within 4 weeks of a miscarriage because God knew that I was suffering with that miscarriage, that I got pregnant again. So yeah. I got pregnant within 4 weeks. I would say 4 to 6 weeks, and they said that's usually not possible. It's very slim chances, but it was possible for me. So when I hear Dr. Phil, no, it's not possible. Yeah, it's possible, sir. Yeah, it's possible. I love Dr. Phil, but that's one thing I don't agree with. We can love and then we can hate at the same time. So I don't like hate, but we can love and then disagree at the same time. Agree to disagree, right? So yeah. 4 to 6 weeks. I went on a little too long about that. So, found out I was pregnant. Yeah, and my miscarriage, I was only like 2 weeks along. So, yeah. So, I started off with a doctor, and because we lived in a town that did not deliver babies, so there was a town on either side, and they were both about an hour away. So, I had the choice of going to this town, A town, or B town. So we went to A-Town. We're just going to call it A-Town because I'm not going to call it, well, I guess we can. It was Opelousas, Louisiana. And I'm not going to tell you the other one because we live here now. So not happening because I don't want any stalkers here. Not saying that you are, but there are some creepy ones before. I've been stalked before. So that'll be another story for another time. But I keep going off track. I've got to pay attention. So we were in A-Town, which is Opelousas. And I went to Opelousas Hospital. I can't remember which one it was. I know there's two different ones there. I'm not going to mention the doctor's name. It was a female, I will give you that, at Opelousas Hospital with an OBGYN. And they say that she is the best OBGYN in the world of OBGYNs in that hospital. And I tell you, no. Because I have friends that see her now, and I told them my experience. and they chose to use her. That is their choice. They can use her. My personal choice, I will never recommend her to anyone or use her myself again. I even almost went after a lawsuit with her after what happened with me, but I would not have gotten very far because my child did not suffer from it. It is sad in this world that to file a lawsuit where a doctor has caused problems by not allowing you in the clinic, your baby has to suffer to file a lawsuit to get them to lose their job or to have their license taken away, to have to go back to school. It sucks, but it's real life and it's not right. I can tell you that. So I would say I was about 15 weeks along because everything was fine up until 15 weeks. I mean, I had morning sickness normal, but I mean, other than that, I finally started getting over the morning sickness at about 15 weeks. I would say it was about 16 and a half weeks, and I started having like just horrible nausea, and I knew it was different than morning sickness. I knew. Just as a mother, or, you know, I wasn't a mother yet. I was a mother, but I was pregnant. You know, I didn't have any kids living. I knew with my instinct something was wrong within 2 days, and she told me. I was just like, I'm vomiting, I'm nauseated, I can't even get up off the couch, you know, my stomach's tensing up, you know, I cannot, you know, okay, this is a stomach virus. I called, this is a stomach virus. Okay, well, can you get me into the office? No, we just think you have a stomach virus, so in 2 days, call us back, and if you're not better, we'll see what we can do. Okay, I rested 2 days. I went to a clinic nearby because I just was so over it. They said I had a bladder infection because bladder infections can cause, you know, those issues. So, okay, I believed I had a bladder infection. I was treated for a bladder infection. I went back home, been taking my medicine. Nothing, I was actually getting worse. So it was about a week had went by that time, and I told my doctor. I said, something is not right. You say this is a stomach virus? No, it's not a stomach virus now. It's just normal pregnancy. You're still not going to get me into the office even though I'm almost 17 weeks along. I was 17 and a half weeks by then. I'm 17 and a half weeks. You're still not going to get me into the office? No, you're good. You're good. That's exactly what they told me. You're good. Even though I continually kept getting worse. I could barely get out of bed. So she never got me into the office. That was the point of that. And I called for 2 weeks straight because we haven't even got to the point to where they figured out what I had. So I went to Opelousas Hospital within that 1 week. The ER in the night 2 times. I went 2 times. They never found anything wrong with me. I was pregnant. They never thought of checking my cervix. Nothing. Blood work and sent me home. Never put me on the fetal monitor. Just a heartbeat. Just checking for a heartbeat. That's all they were worried about, a heartbeat. Yeah, a heartbeat's a big thing, but when you have, I don't call it a fetus, when you have a baby inside of you growing, that's an important thing. Whether they have a heartbeat or not, that is important. I mean, that's important. But when their mother says something is wrong, something is wrong. So we continued, just fighting with these doctors. I finally got tired of going to Opelousas. I called again that same day when I was out of town, and something's wrong. It had been almost 2 weeks by then, so I would say I was 17 weeks, 17 and a half weeks would have been about 2 weeks. So it started about at 15 weeks when I started feeling better. So I made it to about 17 weeks. I was out of town in Town B, which was the other hour from me, because I had a few errands to run, and I don't even know what it was that I had went for, but I went. And we were getting ready to go home, and we went into Lowe's for something because my grandparents needed something, and I decided to go with them that day. And I told them, I haven't been feeling well for about 2 weeks, and, I think since we're out of town, it may be best just for me to go get checked out, So I went to that ER, and I saw just a random doctor. You know, it was OBGYN. I was 17 weeks along. They finally allowed me to be seen because I went to the regular ER and they were like, she needs to go to labor and delivery. Does not matter if she's 17 weeks along or not. In different hospitals, they have different regulations about how far along you can be to go into labor and delivery, or where the pregnancy part of the hospital, maternity part of the hospital is. At 15 weeks, some hospitals do not allow it. So yeah, so they sent me down there to that part of the hospital. I saw the dumbest doctor. Again, oh, you have a bladder infection. Okay. Sent me home with bladder infection medicine again from a different hospital in a different town. There were two different hospitals, you know, and I was crazy. I was losing my mind. So, after that, it was 2 days. 2 days after that, I still was not better. I was constant. I could barely walk around. I was almost in tears. I had never experienced anything like it. And mention, I'm only 17 weeks along. I still have pretty much half of my pregnancy to go. And I went back 2 days later. They would not get me into the room. The same doctor was there that night. She said, go back home. You've only given the medicine 2 days to work. Okay. I went back home. I came back the next morning because I knew she wasn't going to be there. And I knew there was going to be a different doctor. So I was like, oh no, boo-boo. I'm going in here and I'm getting seen. So I said, this is not right. I want to see a different doctor. I demand it right now. And I don't care what you say. I want to see the best of the best doctor that you have right here, right now, that works somewhere in this town. Not some out of town that's just working over because you are out of doctors. Because that's what I saw. So this man came in, and it was a foreign man. And I would say the only bad experience I had with him was he asked me an embarrassing question that you should never ask anybody, which was a pretty bad experience because my mom was in the room. But I was so glad that he found out what was wrong with my son. And he saved, not only him, but another doctor, saved my son's life. So yeah. I said, they've been giving me bladder infection medicines for 2 weeks. I've been told I have a stomach virus for 2 weeks. I'm not getting better. Finally, somebody had the common sense to put fetal monitors on me and did a clean catch catheter to make sure, because sometimes it doesn't show up in a cup and pee. Sometimes you have to do a catheter in and out to tell the real pee. My catheter, pee, urine, whatever you want to call it, came back completely clean. There was never a bladder infection, or if there was, it was never an issue. The fetal monitor picked up that I was having contractions at 17 weeks, regular contractions. So he decided to check my cervix. I had never had that done. None of the doctors thought to do it. He felt my son's head already at 17 weeks. He had not dropped, but he could feel his head. That was the scariest moment for me, was to hear that I was having contractions at 17 weeks and that they could feel my son's head, because you know that there is a 1% of survival rate at that point. So I ended up staying in the hospital for a week, and I met some horrible doctor I got sent to. So I was like, I'm here. Y'all, I found out what is wrong with me. I want to switch locally here, since I'm only an hour away here too as well, to one of y'all's doctors. Which doctor will take me being high risk and being 17 weeks along? Apparently they made a call, which I believe they did, because they got me in. I was scheduled for the next morning when I got discharged to go and see this doctor. And so I went and saw him. I had not had my gestational diabetes test yet, and it was due. I went into his office. I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't take you. You're high risk. It was a very big misunderstanding at the hospital. I can't see you. He had not had me fast. He had me drink the glucose liquid medication. Did not do my blood work. Sent me straight out of the office. Yep, it happened. So for a week and a half, I went without OB care because I did not have a doctor. Actually, for 3 weeks, I went without. But so I would go to the ER just to be checked in on until they found somebody for me. And so finally, and I will say this doctor's name, and y'all will probably figure out what hospital it is. I don't care. This doctor is amazing. He's 80 years old, still practicing, and he saved my son's life. So I will say his name, Dr. Michael Madden. Thank you so much for saving Cooper's life. You are amazing. I'm about to cry just thinking of this. When I went into his office, he was the best doctor. I was in and out of preterm labor the rest of my pregnancy. He had me on bed rest. From the day he met me, he put me on bed rest and said, "Do not get out of this bed, Olivia. This baby is going to be happy and healthy, and I'm expecting this baby to come early, you know. I'm expecting him at least by 30 weeks, you know." And I didn't really have any issues other than preterm labor, you know. I'd go in and out. I just have to go to the hospital and get progesterone shots to stop the labor and to strengthen Cooper's bones and stuff, and respiratory and things like that. For when he was born early, we were expecting that he would have a really good chance at living. As long as he made it to 30 weeks, he had like a 90% chance. So yeah, so he was the best doctor that he saved my life. And I went into labor at 39 weeks. 39, is it 39? Yeah, because you're supposed to go to 40 weeks. I went to 39 weeks. So I was scheduled that Friday, and I went in that Friday before. And I went into labor. I guess I'll go ahead and just hurry up and finish because we're almost at 20 minutes. I went into labor. I'm not really going to tell too much details. I had to walk around. I started having a little bit of a bloody show. That's why I went to the hospital, and I was just like that. My stomach contracting. It didn't hurt really. It was bearable. I walked around and I just progressed and progressed and progressed. I was actually put in a hall closet because it was a full moon, storming outside, and they had no rooms open. So they had to like put me in like an emergency room, like hall closet, you know. And we just made jokes about it forever. They had to put me in there. Luckily, my labor lasted about 7 hours. I'd say 7 to 9 hours. And I finally got into a room when they knew I was going to have him that night, you know. And so I finally got into a room, and I was about, they made me walk around some more. I used the peanut ball, you know, they put between your legs. They went ahead and broke my water. They put the peanut ball, because you can't get up after that, and I dilated. I got the epidural right after they broke my water. I was 7 centimeters as soon as they broke it. And 15 minutes later, I had to push. He was born an hour later. I had pushed for an hour, and he was born at 3:26. I would say 3:26, 3:23, 3:26, something like that. I can't quote it because it's late at night, and I'm trying to remember. Pretty sure it was 3:26 or 3:23, 3:23, I think, a.m. that Friday, May 10th of 2019. Cooper entered this world at 5 pounds 11 ounces. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this little story. I was trying not to get into gross of details, you know, and we didn't. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.